So this is a question I get asked quite a bit on the channel, and what is Monolith Soft doing with the Xenoblade Chronicles X? How long is it going to take before Xenoblade Chronicles X releases on the Nintendo Switch? Is it going to be a Nintendo Switch 2 game? What is going on with this game? How is it working? What is happening? What are they going to do? And I want to answer some of those questions for you guys, for those who maybe missed some of the news, and also for new people coming into the channel. So please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click the notification bell for all your Monolith Soft RPG news, Xenoblade Chronicles, all that good stuff. We're going to be handling it right here on the channel. So let's talk about this, because I think that this is very interesting, because Xenoblade Chronicles X was a game that Monolith Soft gets asked to port so many times, and I think that Xenoblade Chronicles X is going to happen. Now, whether it's going to happen on the Switch 1 with the current Switch or the next gen Switch is still up in the air, but I do feel that Monolith Soft is going to pull out the Xenoblade Chronicles X soon. And I do think that in 2023 there will be an announcement and a launch in the same year as the Nintendo Switch's swan song. And I do think that Monolith Soft and Nintendo want to be able to have every single Xenoblade game playable on the current Nintendo Switch, so when they transfer over to Switch 2, you will be able to easily access each one of those Xenoblade games, because I do feel that the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible. Nintendo's already shown this, but I will talk about it again. They have this chart where they talk about Nintendo accounts, and those are going to transfer over to the next system. Therefore, if your Nintendo account transfers over, probably your games and what you purchased and all your information will transfer over as well. And I think that Nintendo knows that the Nintendo Switch was a big deal, and people are still going to want to play the games, and you're going to want to have a robust library even at launch for new people, and people can play Switch 1 games on Switch 2. It just makes sense, and they've done it many times before in the past with previous handhelds and also home consoles. You have the GameCube to Wii, that was backwards compatible with Wii and GameCube. You have the Wii U and Wii, backwards compatible as well. And the only reason why that the Nintendo Switch can't be compatible with the Wii U is because of the format change with cartridges and all of that. So Nintendo has their lock on what they want to do. They are confident in the Nintendo Switch. I think that they are confident in the gimmick of the system, and now they just have to make that gimmick even better and take things to the next level. And I think that they will. They'll add new things and new gimmicks and new stuff, but at its core, it's going to be a Nintendo Switch 2. It's going to be a Nintendo Switch 2 where they take what they do and even do it better. So I think that having the ability to play all of the Xenoblade games on the current model Switch or in the new gen would be good. And there's no point in leaving Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U, like leaving it on that system, one of the worst selling Nintendo systems of all time, the worst selling Nintendo main home console of all time. It makes perfect sense to get that game ported over. But why haven't they done it? What is taking so long? Well, the biggest problem is that Monolith Soft has been stretched like Stretch Armstrong in 75 different places, between developing on Splatoon, developing on Xenoblade, developing on The Legend of Zelda, developing on so many different things, and even helping out with Pokemon here and there. Monolith Soft is stretched really thin. That's why they've been hiring aggressively over the past 4 or 5 years. They've just been hiring and hiring. They've expanded their team greatly. They went from I think around 100 or underneath 100 people in the Wii era, definitely underneath 100 people in the Wii era, all the way up to nearly 300 people at this point. So they're getting near that, and they might even be there because they haven't given us updated numbers as of the end of 2022. So that is definitely a good thing. You like to see that expansion, but Xenoblade Chronicles X is the most unique Xenoblade game. It's not made like 1 or 2 or 3. Those are single player focused RPGs that have a singular goal in terms of what you need to do and where you need to get to, and that's what you do. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles X, it has that, but it has a player avatar character, which is not like the other ones, right? So that's a little bit different. It also has a really weird structure and setup with passive online and also actual online multiplayer. So you can recruit people and they can show up in your world, and you can go into different things and you can go fight certain missions and battles. It's a really unique system that intertwines pretty seamlessly with the single player campaign. And on top of that, the world is massive, and you have these huge mechs or skells as they call them. And it's one of those games that if they're able to bring it over, it is going to be a pricey and also a thing that they need to spend a lot of time on. It's not going to be something that they're going to be able to get done very easily. And Monolith Soft actually addressed this firsthand. They talked about it. So I wanted to go over what Takahashi had to say about Xenoblade Chronicles X coming to the Nintendo Switch. So in an interview with US Gamer, Chief Tetsuya Takahashi of Nintendo-owned studio Monolith Soft spoke about all things Xenoblade, the RPG series which makes up the bulk of the developer's output these days. When questioned about Xenoblade Chronicles X, though the Wii U semi-sequel in 2015, Takahashi suggested it's not in the cards. Personally speaking, this is a quote from Takahashi, "I'd love to play the game on Switch, but it would be really difficult to make," Takahashi told US Gamer. When we asked why it would be such a problem, he simply laughed and replied, "Money. It's a massive game. Recreating it would be really difficult." Now, that's what I was talking about. I was setting you guys up and then laying it straight with what Mr. Takahashi had to say. It's very different. It costs a lot of money to get that up and going. There's not a snap your fingers port button and everything just works. You're talking about the architecture of the Wii U, the gamepad, having to translate all those features and those things and putting it on there. And I think that there's also time and money. Obviously, time is money, and if you're talking about a game like Xenoblade Chronicles X, it's something that would take them quite a bit of time and resources and money to get done. But that was how many years ago now? That was back in 2018, October 18th, 2018. So we're talking about 4 years ago, 4+ years ago at this point. Now that they've got Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, which by that time was still a little bit under 2 years out, right? And they had just finished releasing, I think it was Torn of the Golden Country. So Torn of the Golden Country, it just came out a little bit ago, and they were still working on Xenoblade Chronicles 3. They're still trying to get their engine prepped and ready to go and dealing with any potential issues and stuff, because it is a miracle that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 looks and runs as good as it does on the Nintendo Switch. They took their time, man. Like, they had to work on that game to get it to where it was with their engine, because their engine just wasn't quite as refined in order to get what they needed to get out of it. When we saw that with Xenoblade Chronicles 2, they put more time and effort into Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So I feel that with Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition and also Xenoblade Chronicles 3 out of the way, that does open up some dev time, some space, some, I would say, maneuverability to get a Xenoblade Chronicles X port up and going. I think that there is enough. Splatoon 3 is done. They're still working on The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but I think that's also wrapping up. So I feel that between the new IP that I still feel is in development, I still feel that's a thing that is coming, between that and maybe what other studios or other teams are doing, I think that a Xenoblade Chronicles X Switch port could be one of the swan songs for the standard Nintendo Switch, just much like Xenoblade Chronicles X was one of the swan songs for the Wii U. It came out at the very end of the Wii U's life, pretty much the last full year the Wii U was the system on the market, or at least what Nintendo was focusing on, between 2015, the end December, and also mid-2016, Nintendo was done. So it was one of the swan songs there. It took them all generation, but hey, it is what it is when it comes down to it. So I think that Xenoblade Chronicles X would be a great addition, and they can make a lot of money on that. If a competent, good version of Xenoblade Chronicles X was to come to the Nintendo Switch, that would sell more than Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I am very confident. Now, we know that Definitive Edition is over 1.5 million. I think it's around 1.5 to 2 million, somewhere in that range. I would give Xenoblade Chronicles X, honestly, I would give it 2 million. I would give it a 2 million shot plus, because of the style of game that it is and because a lot of people didn't get a chance to play it. Now, Definitive Edition is a little bit different because the game had already been on multiple other Nintendo systems, between the Wii, the Wii U, and also the new Nintendo 3DS. I think that more people had a chance to already play it. It's a long game. Yes, there was upgrades, but so many people have already played the game. It was one of the most pirated games out there as well on PC and stuff. Whereas I think that Xenoblade Chronicles X is one of those forgotten Monolith Soft or Xenoblade games, which, not forgotten in terms of people don't want it, but just forgotten as in it's never been as big as the other games because they've launched on a more popular system with the Nintendo Wii and also with the new Nintendo 3DS and now with the Nintendo Switch. But with Xenoblade Chronicles X, it's only on the Wii U. So I think that now at this point, Monolith Soft is in a completely different financial situation as well. If you look at what they've done since 2018, Definitive Edition was a big boost for them. They were getting more sales on Xenoblade Chronicles 2. That was still kind of coming into its own as the best-selling Monolith Soft game. And this year, they launched Xenoblade Chronicles 3 to great success, selling over 1.7 million units in a very short amount of time. And that's with special editions and all sorts of stuff. And more people are even catching on to Xenoblade. The Game Awards, while it didn't win anything, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, it got the game in front of millions of people saying, okay, this Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was nominated for this and for that, and it was in the musical performance. I think maybe I should give it a shot. Heck, I even saw a big reviewer out there, Skill Up, say that he actually just started Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and it's amazing. So even stuff like that is going to be a big boost. That tweet right there with all those thousands of likes and retweets and stuff can probably get 100+ people to pick up the game, and then their friends will tell somebody else. The grassroots movement of what Xenoblade is in terms of how it got big in the first place. It wasn't because there was all sorts of advertisements everywhere. It was because word of mouth. It was because people were saying, hey, this is good. And it kind of exploded from there. So I think that Xenoblade Chronicles, the franchise, is in a different spot at this point. And if you bring out Xenoblade Chronicles X, that is going to be a huge boost for the Nintendo Switch library, in addition to being able to play every single Xeno game on one system, the Xeno machine. I think that's the one thing that it's missing when it comes down to it, because everything else is there. So it would be great if that would be the case. So I'm guessing, like, I'm not just saying it for hopium, but I'm guessing that we will get an announcement for Xenoblade Chronicles X at a Nintendo Direct and saying, oh, well, one more Xenoblade game to add, you know, explore this Wii U classic. I think that that would be great. Now, the expansion pass stuff, obviously, we still need to get that, so I'm not sure if they want to do it before or after that, but I think an announcement and then a reveal for later in the year would be great. But I think that a 1-2 punch with Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC and new Xenoblade, along with Xenoblade Chronicles X, would create the Switch to even have more sales. It would get more people even interested in playing the system because more and more people are picking up Xenoblade. So let's see how it works out. Let's see what goes down. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I think that because of all the reasons I listed here, and because this statement is so old at this point, going on 4+ years now, over 4 years, I think that times have changed, things are different, and Nintendo wants all of those Xenoblade games on the Switch, and I think that their new IP could be one of the big games for Nintendo Switch 2. So we're gonna have to wait and see how it all works out. But what are your thoughts on this, guys, when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles on the Nintendo Switch? Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3, Torn of the Golden Country, all these different games that have launched so far. Heck, Future Connect, you want to add that in. And what do you feel about Xenoblade Chronicles X? Where do you think it could fit in? Do you feel that it would do good? Do you have a sales prediction if it did launch? How are you feeling about the chances, or what could happen if Xenoblade Chronicles X came to the Nintendo Switch sometime in 2023? What would you guys think about that? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're someone new. Click that notification bell. We will see you for the next video. Peace.